This episode is brought to you in part by BuyMeACoffee.com. We'll hear more from them later on the show. Hello there, my name is Doc Conrad, and this is my little preamble to the podcast. First of all, I want to say thank you so much to all the wonderful guests and artists who have helped out on this show. At Doidaflower, at DOIDUHFLOWER, is the artist behind the visuals on YouTube and all the other social media sites. Andromeda_Snow, ANDROMEDA_SNOW on Twitter, is the artist behind the promotional material behind each of the guest reveals. And at Mellowscav, at MELOSCAV, created the icon for this podcast. If you'd like to go ahead and keep up to date with the show, go ahead and follow the show on Twitter, on Instagram, on Tumblr, I still barely use it, and on Facebook at Comms Open Podcast. Or look up Commissions Open. Today's guest is the absolutely wonderful Lazy Chaoz. She was one of the first people I ever thought of to go ahead and be on the show. I've loved her art for a while now, and I think that her cute, stylistic art style, along with her vibrant colors and her pretty attractive characters, is what initially drew me to her. But after hearing more about her, she really gave a story that is inspiring and is really heartfelt and touching. I hope that you all take this episode with an open mind and open ears, and you really pay attention, because it's really important. If you want to go ahead and follow Lazy Chaoz, you can do so on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'll go ahead and have all those links down below. And thank you so much for doing this episode with me, Lazy. I really do appreciate it. So, that should be everything. Thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Commissions Open, an interview podcast all about art in the digital age. Here you can hear the processes, stories, and lives of talented artists, voice actors, video creators, editors, musicians, and many other talented creators in the era of online work. I am your host, Doc Conrad, and today I have the absolutely wonderful Lazy Chaoz. Hello.
Hi, what's up?
Nothing much. How you been? How you feeling? What's the vibe?
Haven't slept much in a whole week, so I'm pretty exhausted, but I'm still going strong, still doing my day-to-day routines, surviving with the bare minimum.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
For the people who don't know who Lazy is, even though a lot of your fans are probably going to be listening to this, you are a digital artist who is on, like, you're on a number of different places. You're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you're on
Yeah,
Pixiv.
yeah, mostly Facebook. That's where I'm most active. I'm trying to dabble in everything else just to expand my reach, but Facebook has been like biggest source of my
Mhm.
audience. So
Yeah.
I try to stick mostly with that.
And it makes sense because you've got a great fan base over there, and you've been making
Oh yeah, I love all of them. Every single one of them are great.
yeah. So I know we had a little talk about the questions we're gonna go ahead and ask, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw a little bit of a quick curveball at you.
Curveball.
You know, a little curveball. Do you remember when you first made your Facebook page and all that sort of thing?
Oh geez. I had my first Facebook page was like when I was still kind of getting out of high school. It didn't go very well because I was not really drawing much at that time because I was preparing for college.
Mm-hmm.
I think my current Facebook page I started up in 2018, and it had some traction because I had some really good friends, some close friends that I met in a group from another artist. And from then it kind of took off. I was at a steady like up and down kind of with like a few hundred followers. I remember doing my first 100 follower giveaway and it was exciting. I was excited because that I hit a triple digit.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year I started playing Rainbow Six Siege with my very close friends. So I did a lot of Rainbow Six Siege fan art. Jaeger is my daddy. And I would basically just do memes and just some neat fan art, a little bit of lewd. And that got me some attention. It bumped my humble 150 something to about 2000. And I was very pleased. I was still in college, so seeing that, I was like, ooh, energy boost. I can do my assignments now.
Mm-hmm.
And then last, near the end of summer, I did a mini 2-panel comic, just venting my thoughts. And I was like, huh, wouldn't it be funny if someone looked at me and said, wow, she's kind of cute. I wonder what she's drawing in that sketchbook. And I said, I draw loads of porn. And that made me skyrocket to over 12,000 followers. And I thought it was hilarious because I'm like, wow, who knew a silly comic would take off like that?
Mm-hmm.
And it opened so many doors to me. I was able to get on my feet with my career, gave me a huge energy boost to keep going. I just finished college, so I was kind of like, what am I going to do? I need to look for a job. I want a job in my field.
Mm-hmm.
My field is illustration. I have a BFA, Bachelor in Fine Arts. And it was going kind of slow. I had my usual customers over the summer, but by the end of the summer, I started getting more commissions, and it was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how my Facebook page kind of got pretty big. Well, pretty big, small big, if you
Mm-hmm.
will.
It's still a pretty decent size, and I
It's a
must
good chunk.
yeah, and I must say, like, that's something interesting I want to go ahead and talk about a little bit, because your art is mostly focused on not only the commissions that you create from this like group of fans that you've somewhat collected, but you'd say that your original pardon me, you'd say that like the original bit of your initial traction was from this comic. Um, and it's of course like a short one that could be easily shared through Facebook and people being like, haha, that's
Yeah,
that's funny, and like
it was
people got
relatable
like,
content.
yeah, the hashtag relatable, and everybody just started like going around and grabbing at it, and
Oh yeah.
they not only they loved your art, and they mixed well with the set with like everything that went along with it, but then they showed like you have really high quality art. Speaking of like your different like of your different characters that that you've drawn and the commissions that you do, there's a lot to go ahead and say, like it was like someone can go ahead and post that, but it wouldn't be as good if it was just like, I don't know, like a stick figure drawing. Like if that was it, then it'd be like it wouldn't make as much sense and it wouldn't be as like viral. But it showed like your characters were not only like really interesting, especially like a first thing with like the fangs that you have and you draw on all of them.
Well, thank you.
You love drawing fangs, which
And
I love.
people love things.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you've like you like exploded from there and sort of grown your own community from that point. But what I'm happy to go ahead and say is like you've moved from. I'm happy to go ahead and say that like you stuck with your art and not just try to go ahead and be like a relatability artist, because I know that's like that's could be a deadly thing to go ahead and get yourself in a
Oh
spiral
yeah,
with.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. I was
Uh,
wondering, what sort of what's your reasoning behind like wanting to stick with your art for the art's sake rather than going for more of the going for more of those like relatability comics? Like what drove you to that?
so sorry. The relatability comics are excellent once in a while. Like, I don't know, if you need a boost or if you want to just share your thoughts and be like, I wonder how many other people feel this way or how many other people can relate to me. Those are great.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually they get a little stale because it's been said before. So I also want to do stuff that's more me, something that I would love doing. I want to love the entire process. I want to love the outcome and I want people to also love that. So the reason I go for more original character art is people love it.
Mm-hmm.
And my character designs are just like pretty unique if I do say so myself.
They very much are.
And they're, my character, my persona Lazy, she's got those cute eyes that swap from either like, those anime-ish eyes or just those black slits.
Mm-hmm.
She's always got those big smiling teeth. She's
Mm-hmm.
got the cute little hair and
Mm-hmm.
she's got the titters, people love that. So
Uh,
she's an adorable caricature that people just latch onto. They're attracted to that. They want to see more cuteness with the little monster details, I guess, because that's a thing that people love too.
Mhm.
And it gets me a lot of traction because people love to see it. So I stick with more originality. And even when I post commissions, like they don't get nearly as much attention as my original characters, especially my other character, Fleur, the girl with the red horns. People
Mhm.
love her. And it's a great feeling when they love my original characters. It's excellent because I sometimes doubt myself, like maybe this isn't original enough, or maybe people won't like it. And it turns out lots of people really find themselves attracted to this art style that I
Mhm.
have, and it feels great. So I tend to focus more on that because it just seems to get a better reaction out of people and it seems to lift me off the ground a little bit more.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I guess that's my reasoning behind it. I still
Yeah.
do sometimes, like, I have little thoughts in my head that I put on the screen and I'm like, oh, I wonder to see how many people relate to this. So,
Mhm.
but yeah,
No.
mostly the original work. That's where it's at.
Mhm. And I want to go ahead and talk a bit about your original work. I'm gonna go
Mhm.
ahead and go about it on two fronts. One being the creation of your OCs, like how you made them,
Oh
and then
boy.
afterward we'll go ahead and talk a bit about like your art style as well. Because I want to
Oh,
go ahead
sweet.
and discuss like you growing from an artist of like everyone starts from somewhere and everybody hates their
Oh
first bit
yeah.
of art. And if you and if and
Absolutely.
and I know that because they could see like the imperfections that they see it, especially later on. But where is it that you where is it that you pretty much like uh started? Like how early on did you get into
Oh
art?
dear. Once upon a time in a land far, far away called I'm not going to get into that. I am not exaggerating when I say I have been drawing since I could hold a crayon. I always loved it. I remember my father would always buy me little artistic contraptions. I had these weird like paint sets, those cheap ones. Everybody knows exactly which one I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I just fell in love with coloring. I fell in love with doodling on the walls and sticking pieces of paper to the fridge that had my works of art from a 5-year-old. And I would melt crayons on the radiator in school and go to the principal's office for my works of art. And throughout grade school, I was always doodling, I was always drawing, I was always folding pieces of paper, making little makeshift origami balls of paper. I would play with those during reading time. Um, People would walk over to my desk and see me drawing Sonic the Hedgehog and say how it's awesome it looks. Middle school, same thing. I was always doodling in my notebooks. My notes, the margins were full of like ornate designs and twirlies and tornadoes. High school, I was yelled at the most because they wanted me to take the classes seriously, and I was just like, I don't know, I like this sketchbook right here. I was yelled at by all of my math teachers for drawing in class. They wanted me to stop getting D minuses. So I ignored it, of course, because you can't stop me. I love drawing, and I had plenty of other teachers that also agreed that drawing is a sign of, you're paying attention, but you're also like moving your hand. And I was able to focus better while I was drawing as well. And some teachers just didn't see that. I was just naturally bad at math. That's why I was failing math.
Mm-hmm.
And then I knew exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life once I was cognitively aware of what I was doing and I could make a living off of it. So when I graduated high school, I went straight to college the next semester and I hated it. uh, it was an okay experience. College just wasn't for me. I had to commute every single day, very early in the morning, all the way to Boston.
Mm.
So it was an hour and a half commute from where I live, which is outer Boston, Waltham. Uh, the classes were minimum 4 hours long. They were
Ooh.
very arduous. They were all first year. There were all sorts of classes. Like I couldn't pick my classes. It made me angry because I already knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an illustrator. I wanted to do comic books. I wanted to draw character artwork and concept art. At first, I wanted to be like video game concept artist, but then I kind of dipped out of that because I've heard rumors that the industry won't treat me very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided maybe freelance illustrator will do me good. I can be my own boss. And then yeah, throughout college I was working as a freelancer in addition to working in various nursing homes as
Mm-hmm.
a kitchen assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I made my money. I saved because college was not going to pay for itself. And after I graduated college last year,
Yeah.
I was on my own and I didn't know what to do. I still had a steady stream of commissions every couple of weeks. Not really like enough to live off of, but it kept my motivation up since like I had that feeling of yeah, people are still coming to me, they're seeing my stuff, they're liking it. So I'm just going to keep going and I was close to giving up many times. I would stay up at night just staring at the ceiling wondering if I was good enough. And then my spike happened and
Mm-hmm.
it gave me a huge burst of energy and I was ready to keep going. And that's pretty much my artistic life story from little Emma to big Emma.
Yeah. I
Whole 20 plus years of just drawing and drawing and drawing.
mm-hmm. I really appreciate you telling me all that, and it's great to hear that you still like through those bits of like through those bits of it you still kept on making art. And I know that there's quite a number of people especially who are like, there are plenty of young artists as well who are like wondering about like, hey, do you think I should go ahead and keep going, what's going on with that?
Yeah.
And you are a testament to like, no, keep going, like
I get a
things can
lot
turn
of
out well.
messages like that too. I try to like when a young artist comes to me for advice, I will always support them. I will always tell them, "No, you got this. You can keep going. You can doubt yourself as much as you want, but there are people out there that really appreciate and love what you're doing." Cuz
Mm-hmm.
I never received that support. I never had that kind of support. And it hurt a lot starting up as a freelance illustrator because I desperately needed it and I was lost and I didn't know how I was gonna, do what I love to do and still be able to live off of that. So whenever someone who's just starting out is doubting themselves and they want to chat and they want to vent to me, I will always support them. I will always give them advice. I will send them references. I will tell them my life story if I have to.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell them how much, I sucked when I was your age, or if I were this age and I sucked, I would say, I don't suck. This is just how, this is my first steps.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you keep going, you just get better at it. And
Yeah.
I can't stress it enough when I tell people, and I just told someone earlier today, message me, like, I can't stress this enough. It's practice and dedication. That's how you're going to get better. That's how you're going to strive. That is exactly how you're going to learn. You can't learn unless you're moving your hands. So get moving your hands.
Yeah, it's very important for a lot of people to go ahead and recognize that. And it's a great story to go ahead and tell people that
Yeah.
you've had all this. And I'm glad that you get a chance to go ahead and like share with hopefully a larger group of people through
Yeah,
this
it
way
sounds
as well.
cliche, but I mean, that's the reality. It does
Yeah.
sound kind of cliche, from kind of
Hmm.
like starting from nothing and slowly getting better and becoming something, but like that's how it is. That's exactly how it is for anything, really.
There's a reason why it's a cliche, because it happens. Like, it wouldn't be
It
a
happens to
cliche if
everybody.
it wouldn't be
Exactly.
a cliche if it like if it didn't happen. Like, the whole
Yeah,
point of
and
it
I'm
is like
not
it
saying
happens a
I'm the
lot.
greatest ever. I am not the greatest ever. I am still learning to this very day. I am
Mm-hmm.
always learning. I will never stop learning, and I love learning. I see a new piece of artwork from some artists that I follow, and I'm like, wow, I'm going to implement some of these techniques into my own work, see how it goes, and I'm going to keep, pushing that.
That's
See how I can make it my own, see how I
yeah.
can, make it better and keep, you know, mixing things up to keep it fresh.
Hmm. And that's a great transition point, because I want to go ahead and talk a bit about your art style and how you've gotten from where you were to where you are now. How is it that how is it that you developed your specific like style of art, and what you've done? Is it mostly from like your early inspirations? Like, was it originally from like your friends that you saw, or is it from like characters that you watched in media, or was it something else? Like, what was it that like really connected to you?
Well, when I first started doing like comics, because that's my main focus, I read a lot of One Piece in high school.
Ah.
I loved One Piece. I read a lot of other manga, but One Piece was my favorite because I loved the story and I love pirates. And I thought it was super cool, all the superpowers, and like that kind of motivated me. Like, hey, I have so many ideas for these characters. I want to make a story about them.
Mhm.
So I would start, folding pieces of paper in half and making little comic books and binding them by hand with tape and staples. And that's where it started. That's where I started developing my style. That's where I created these characters. A lot of my old characters I don't use anymore from my first comic. So I made a new one, and that was Fleur, my little demon girl with the red horns.
Mhm.
And I kind of wanted to revolve this little universe around her stories. So I kept drawing Fleur over and over and over. And then, that was high school edginess. I changed her design a lot since high school.
Mhm.
And college happened. I had my style before college. I wanted to improve it. I thought, college would help me learn. And learn more from YouTube tutorials, I'll tell you that much. And other artists that I follow. Um, but I did take away a couple like color theory lessons from college with painting classes and some new digital classes that got me into new materials and programs.
Mhm.
I experimented a lot. I saw a lot of. I still kept up with comics. I'm 23 and I still read manga. I I see a lot of different like anime styles. I wanted to implement that into my work. I played around with eye styles and hairstyles, line thickness, color palettes, and I decided I love thick lines. I love bright colors. I like lots of little shiny details and shading, and I like lots of contrast. So I started working with that, and you can see in a lot of my recent works that the bright colors are really working.
Mhm.
And like I experiment a lot with colors. Like, when you use a blue, you shade with blue, it's kind of boring, but when you shade with a purple, it's pretty unique. It pops more.
Yeah.
So I like to use colors that make everything pop. Like I want everything to like literally explode your brain with color. So most of my work is focused on bright colors. I love using thick lines. I like using like some thin lines, to highlights and details. Outlines are usually really chunky
Mhm.
because, I like to define everything. Um, I like mixing a lot of different colors that you wouldn't think would work great together. I like mixing green and purple together on a
Mhm.
fucking palette. Like everything is experimental. A lot of the stuff I do is experimental. I pray that it comes out great, and when it does, I'm proud of myself because I was able to try something new and break out of whatever imaginary prison I put in my brain and kind of look at it and say, wow, it was worth it.
Mhm.
So that's another thing I would recommend to a lot of new, young, and professional artists is like always try something new. If you see something that someone else does and you like it, try it out. So you can see if you like it or not, implement it into your work, test it out.
Mhm.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
No.
don't be afraid to change up your line work if you like work really sketchy. You can, define the lines a little bit, or if you like to work really fragile details, loosen up a bit, see how that works.
Mm.
Because you're not really losing anything from experimenting. I wouldn't recommend doing it with commissions because you won't want your client,
Mhm.
looking at it and saying, "What the heck is that?"
Yeah.
But with your own personal work, highly recommend
Yeah.
like testing everything.
Yeah. And you bring up commissions is going to be an interesting point I want to go ahead and bring up because you stated a little bit like you don't want to go ahead and change up your art style too much when it comes to commissions, but of course like the way the commissions work is that they've seen your art the artwork that you've previously made, and they enjoyed it so much they want to pay you for it. They want to pay, they themselves want to go ahead and pay to have a piece of that sort of artwork for themselves to like use. I've commissioned you before for some things involved with like a promo image for like the podcast, and I loved every second of like the process of you like sharing it and like what you've done, and I really appreciated what you did for me in that regard. But I want to go ahead and talk a bit about that. What's it like living that sort of freelance style? Because I know you said you wanted to go ahead and keep your you wanted to go ahead and have more of like that sort of like be your own boss sort of way in terms of your illustrating. But in terms of the commission process, like how has that worked out for you? Not only as of late, but in the beginning. Like I remember you mentioning that there was a little bit where you were like, it was a slow amount of income, but eventually grew after the comic explosion. But why don't you go ahead and talk about that, like the commission process and everything you do with that involved? Oh no. Uh-oh.
It looks like I've just taken over the podcast. He's gonna have to stay upstairs for like 2 or 3 minutes to fix the internet. But while he's doing that, I get to go ahead and take over the podcast for myself. Oh, this is so wonderful. Hello, my name is Victor Von Killdeath, and this is now my podcast, Commissions Open. I want to give a huge thank you to all of you who have been listening and...
Hey! Hey, what are you doing down there?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
What are you doing? Are you recording something?
No. Here, you go ahead and take this part over. I'm fine.
Take it over? What do you mean? You
Just go ahead and do your little bit. It's fine.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to the middle bit. First, I want to give a huge shout out to Shy Starfall, the host of the Artfall, a Twitch game show that is all about interacting and having fun with artists, as well as having a mini interview with them. A lot of the time he does different challenges, and I'm actually on the team that helps create some of the fun different challenges that artists can go ahead and participate in. So, if you're at all interested in hearing more about artists coming up every single Tuesday, you can go ahead and follow him on Twitter at ShyStarfall and on Twitch at twitch.tv/ShyStarfall. The second thing for the middle bit is that we have a sponsor with BuyMeACoffee.com. I want to ensure that sponsorships make sense for this podcast, and when Buy Me a Coffee reached out to me, it made a ton of sense. Buy Me a Coffee is a great way to accept support and offer extras to your audience. There are more than 100,000 creators across 750 categories, and this podcast is on there too. But we'll talk about that in a bit. First, what about you? If you are a commission-based creator, Buy Me a Coffee has a feature just for you. You could set up your page to take art commissions with features such as placing maximum slots, setting prices, describing the amount you charge, and more. You can use their pre-filled art commissions template, or make your very own personalized to you. If you're interested at all, you can visit my link in the audio description or on YouTube in the description below. And if you're looking a way to support me, come take a look at my Buy Me a Coffee page. There you can figure out a way to sponsor the podcast as well as get your message read on this very show. Thank you once again to Buy Me a Coffee for this opportunity, and I'm thankful if you support the show. Finally, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone in the Fang Gang. After the announcement that Lazy was going to be on this podcast, I saw a big spike in listeners and subscribers, and I want to go ahead and give a huge thank you to everybody who has wanted to go ahead and listen and be supportive of this podcast. It means a lot to me. I hope a lot of you will stick around after their episode comes out, which, by the way, there's going to be a lot more exciting guests over the upcoming future, and if everything goes right, I just keep working, guys. I have guests lined up to October 3rd if everything goes right with these next few interviews. So it's going to be exciting, and I'm going to have to go ahead and eventually find a chance to go ahead and break things up and put more episodes out, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to figure something out because I don't want to continuously put a backlog. But yeah, I definitely think that this podcast is one of my. It's a great passion to go and have. It's something I want to go ahead and do full time, and you guys supporting it really does help me with that. So, you can go ahead and I just want to go ahead and say thank you once again to everybody who has been a long time listener. If this is your first episode, welcome. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you'll enjoy all the wonderful artwork that comes along with it from Doida. And I hope you'll also enjoy everything that comes with each interview. I really do have a great time listening to each guest, and yeah, I think that's where we're gonna go and end it off. Um, Thank you so much for everything that you do. And hey Vic, what's going on?
I had to chase this little person who had like huge teeth, and she was like biting at wires on the internet. I don't know where she came from.
What? You you chased someone out of here?
Yeah, it was crazy. I don't know what she was here for, but she just started biting everything.
Um, okay. I'll go ahead and talk with Lazy later. Either way, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for listening in the middle bit. And I'll go ahead and get back to the interview.
Bye-bye.
All right. I've started recording again, and I'll go and edit it, so no need to worry about like immediately getting back into it.
We're
that was-
talking about our pizza.
Yeah, no need to worry about the pizza. But no. Okay.
Could be a blooper.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't record the pizza bit, unfortunately. I just
Aw.
recorded you reacting to the pizza bit. Anyway.
Oh, darn it. I love pizza though.
But no, before I was so rudely interrupted by my own
Back
internet.
on track.
Yeah, by my own internet. Let's go ahead and cycle the mental, bring it back. We were discussing before our break, our unfortunate break brought to you by my internet connection. I wanted to go ahead and switch topics actually, so this actually works out pretty well. To the commission process.
Yes.
So the in terms of everything, you stated before the break that you wanted to don't change your art style because during the time of doing commissions, and I wanted to go and bring it to the point that makes a lot of sense, especially because what people do when they want to commission is for like they want to have a piece of your art that they recall, that they know of, and they have a vision of it inside of their head, and they want to bring it to you to bring it to life. And so changing your art style will go ahead and perhaps like sully the vision or change it up in a way that they don't exactly want it. But I want to go and talk about what you did, which is to say, you swapped from your like you didn't have too many commissions going through. You had a small amount of commissions that were somewhat consistent over the course of a few different people who commissioned you. But now that you've grown since the initial explosion of your comic, your consistency has become your consistency in sort of like accepting commissions has gone up, I'm guessing. What is that process like involved with like accepting commissions and taking different orders and requests and everything involved with that? Like, what made you choose that sort of thing?
Well, I'm just gonna talk about the style thing. So when I first started doing commissions, I learned a lot, and one of those things was keep the style consistent, but also like slowly evolve and constantly update your price sheets with fresh images, new styles, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Because when a client sees your commission sheets and they see the style of work that you're producing, that's what they're going to expect, and that's what they want to. They see that, they like it, they want it. You give it to them. So if you're changing your style midway through a commission and you give them something, they might look at it and say, well, this isn't what I was looking for, and they might, want a refund, or they might just not want it at all, and it'll cause a lot of trouble for you and the person that you're doing the work for. And it personally happened to me, and I learned from that, even though this person did follow me and saw my updates and style changes, but that's a completely different animal. I'm not sure if we're gonna touch on it at all today.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a mess, and it was still when I was just starting to expand my reach and get more commissions. But it was a lesson learned, and I kind of stuck with that whole, I will update my commission sheets more often. That way people can see my progress and how consistent or how divergent my style is becoming. And excuse me. Um so yeah, that's kind of important. It's good to keep your fans in the loop because potential customers are everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and you just want to make sure that they're getting what they want and what they see. And how the commission process goes for me is usually, I get a PM, people ask me like, "Oh, what are your prices?" Or they'll see the prices and they'll be like, "I want this, I want that." And I usually am very straightforward. I tell them, like, depending on what you want, this is how much it is. The process is, rough sketch, refined sketch, line art, flat color, finished product with all the details, depending on what they get. Because a sketch, if they're asking for a sketch and that's all they want, it's cheap, it's fast, it's easy. I just give them the sketch and I'm done. I don't really have to refine anything because it's just that. It's just a rough sketch. If they want to send it to another artist to touch up on, that's totally fine. It's their work, they own it, that's what they want to do. I just have the rights to display it. For bigger pieces, I'm obviously, going more deep into it. I am constantly updating the client on the progress. I tell them, like, this is what the lines are going to look like. This is all cleaned up. Let me know if you want any changes, because you want to give them the opportunity to make adjustments if needed. You don't just want to slap something down that you've finished without, clearing things up, because that'll upset them because they wouldn't have any input. It's just 100% your own doing. And, you got to make sure that you're clearing things up, and, you want to give them input also because this is their piece. You're doing it. You're the god on the paper. You're creating, but you also have to give them a hand in it because they're paying for it. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to like give them something that they'll be displeased with. So I'm constantly updating my clients. I'm always telling them, hey, don't be afraid to tell me what you want because you paid money for this, whether it's upfront, all of it, or just a down payment. You paid for this. You get a say too. Always
Mm-hmm.
send them updated sketches, whether even if it's a stick figure, just like showing the general pose. Tell them that. Show them. Always ask them questions. What are the colors? How thick do you want the lines? What pose do you want? Go take some screenshots on Google and show me some references that you would, like something built off of. It's a long process. It gets tedious at times, especially if I have like a picky client, but I'm very patient. I don't get pissed off very easily, so
Mm-hmm.
when they're constantly asking for changes, I'll be like, "Yeah, okay. You're a little nutty, but I'll go with it. You paid good money for this, so I got to give you what you want." Then there's
Mm-hmm.
some really horrible clients that are just rude and they're sassy with you, and I do the work and I just get them away from me. I don't want to
And
deal with that again.
that's
Um,
something I kind of want to talk about actually.
oh
Involved
boy.
with some of the more sassy clientele. Which, by the way, I want to go ahead and state before we move into that. Thank you for sharing that information involved with
Oh yeah,
commissioning
it's
artists.
very important to know. And a lot of people have problems or struggles, and when I was starting up, how to price your work and what kind of stuff you want displayed, what's going to catch people's attention.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had my prices super low. I was really underselling myself, and I had a lot of friends that would bug me and say, "You got to raise your prices. Do it."
Mm-hmm.
And I did it. Little by little, I've been like raising my prices as my style changes. As I'm improving, the price is going to bump up a little bit because this is my craft. This is my hard work. This is my blood, sweat, and tears. Lots of tears,
Yeah.
lots of tears, lots of tears.
No,
So I want to be
yeah.
compensated for my hard work, of course, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just like any other work.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically an office job. I'm sitting in a chair for like 8 to 10 hours every day working in front of my computer.
Yeah.
So you want to, you want to take into consideration how long it's going to be, the process involved, what exactly they want, whether it's a big piece or a small piece. And,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much all that needs to be said about that, because, you also don't want to like overcharging
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
also a bad idea. If
Mhm.
you are just beginning, the worst thing you can do is overcharge, because first of all, you're going to drive people away. If you're just beginning, you have, not mediocre style, but like clearly a beginner style. You're not going to get a lot of clients, if any,
Mm-hmm.
because, you gotta keep practicing. You can, like, obviously put yourself out there. I'm not saying don't sell your work if you're a beginner. Absolutely see how it is. You gotta try it. Put yourself out there. Do whatever you want, but just keep it real. You gotta keep fucking,
Mm-hmm.
practicing.
Yeah.
You gotta keep
Yeah.
practicing. Because, you know, personally, I wouldn't buy beginner art because it's not quality.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to be blunt, it's not quality. Not a lot of people are going to be interested in that. They want higher quality art. But as long as you're consistently practicing and honing your craft, yeah, you're gonna attract more attention, and then that's when prices start becoming more reasonable.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, uh, that's that.
No, you're fine. You're
The
fine.
money talks.
No, no. I really appreciate you saying
I went
saying
off
all
on a
that.
tangent.
No, no,
Sorry.
it's an important one because a lot of people don't fully understand the bits involved with commissioning art and like the prices to go ahead and set. Like it's one of the hardest questions to go and ask yourselves to look yourself from an objective standpoint and say what is my art worth, because you're either selling yourself too little because of your like, oh, I'm still a beginner, or like you sell yourself too high because like you want to get paid well for the art that you make. And of course you need to go ahead and do that. But like it's also important to like find a balance between those two, and it's something that like a lot of different artists need to go and discover them about themselves, like what is their style compared to what people are going to either typically buying, or the price that of like major artists versus like minor artists versus like beginner artists. Like there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of looking
Mhm.
around, and don't be afraid to ever like look at other artists' price
Yeah,
sheets and to get like a general idea of what the range would be for your own work, because that's what
exactly.
I did. And apparently I'm still underselling
Mm.
myself, but I think right now where I'm at, it's pretty reasonable. It's getting me
Yes,
business.
yes.
It's attracting clients. I do lots of sales. I do lots of giveaways too. Giveaways are going to be your friend. Don't
Mhm.
do too many though, because then you will be stressed.
Mhm.
And people will constantly be begging you for artwork for free, and that's also a terrible, awful culture that's built into
Mhm.
our art world these days. A lot of people don't understand that, not every artist is going to do stuff for free for you because it is exhausting work.
Yes. It's and here's where we can go ahead and get this in. You've of course experienced as you've of course grown and expanded your work, and you've blown up as an artist. Um, there are always people who are wanting to go ahead and message you involved with, I want free art, or I want to do this specific thing involved with like your commission prices, but don't do it this way. And I know you say don't, you have don'ts, but can you just for this time, like please? There there are plenty of people who have gotten their own idea in their head
Oh
that
yeah,
they can work, they can make things work
very
out with your
entitled.
favorite artist who are also entitled. Um, let's go ahead and talk about that because that's just a fun topic to go ahead and discuss anyway.
The stories I could tell you, I will. I don't get too many, but I've had similar. But ah, man, like, I just find it annoying because they don't. I think those people are the ones that don't believe that an artist should be paid as much as a construction worker kind of deal, because they
Mm-hmm.
don't view it as labor. They view it as a hobby that should be done just for other people's enjoyment and not for a living wage sort of deal. And it's kind of sad too, because there are a lot of underappreciated artists out there that do fantastic work, and they're just being bombarded by people begging them to draw these things for free, or they're reposting their art without credit, and they're losing out on followers and potential clients as well. And it's yeah, it's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't experienced it too much. I have had a couple like people in comments be like, "So when are you gonna do X?" or a DM that says, "Will you draw Y for me?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, but here's." I'll politely direct them to my commissions page,
Yeah.
or I'll tell them about my biweekly polls and giveaways that I do, or
Hmm.
bi-monthly. I think I said biweekly. I meant bi-monthly.
Yeah, bi-monthly, not
Every
bi-weekly.
couple
That's
of months I will
yeah.
I do a giveaway. I used to do it on Patreon only, but now I do it on all my platforms
Hmm.
where I will, have people comment what they want and I'll do that for them. I'll pick one winner from each platform. And that's the only time I'll do free art. Unless you're a very dear friend, and maybe birthday art will be in order.
Mm.
Which
You
is a
know,
kind
for every
gesture
no
when I have time.
kidding.
I mean, I have time for it occasionally, not for everyone's birthday.
Yeah, no,
That's
makes
gonna be
sense. If
my
you are listen,
calendar would be full.
if you are listening to this podcast right now, tell your no I'm kidding. God, please
No,
do not.
if I
Please do
even
not.
remember your birthday, you'd be lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
Numbers
Um,
are not my forte, but yeah, uh, don't beg artists for free art. You will annoy them.
hmm and from what I also hear, there seems to be a subsect of people who say hi a lot in DMs.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Why don't
Yes.
you go ahead and why don't you go ahead and talk about that? Oh, this is also going
I.
to be a good one afterwards. I got another
Oh
one. I got
dear.
another one loaded in the chamber. You go ahead.
Oh god, the bullet is coming. So, for me personally, I know this probably doesn't happen for everybody, and not everybody feels the same way. I am a very high anxiety person. I know everybody can relate. Everyone's got anxiety in some way. I am like super, like, very closed off. I like my small circle of friends. I have my close buddies that I've been talking to for like 5+ years. I have my
Mhm.
gamer bros on PlayStation.
Mhm.
And then I have my direct, immediate IRL people. There's like three of them: my sister, her fiance, and my boyfriend. That's the only people I really want to see. I get DMs almost every single day, both on my personal and on my Facebook page, sometimes on Instagram. The hi. And it's that's it. That's just it. It's just hi. Like, how do I respond to that? I'm not going to say hi back because that's not going to go anywhere.
No.
Or it's the wave emoji that Facebook likes to shove down everybody's throat when you make a new
Ah.
friend. It's that hi, hello, hi, how are you? Or you got a minute? And I'm like,
Ooh.
I don't know how to talk about this. I'm just a small anxious being. I just want to be left alone.
Mhm.
I'm also I'm also very busy. Like I said, I work 8 to 10 hours a day sitting on my sweaty ass drawing. So I'm not really into the whole social like stuff. I don't message people very often. I'll dip in my group chats occasionally, but that's about it.
Mhm. And it's one of those things that really makes it it's one of those things that makes it really difficult for like people to go ahead and recognize like I want to go ahead and have a commission. If you want to go ahead and have a commission done, I recommend like what would you recommend if somebody wanted to go ahead and have the commission
Oh,
done? What
my
would you go
guy.
ahead and do versus saying
People
like
that want,
hi?
if you want a commission, you just hop right in there and say, "Yo, I want to commission you," or "I love your art." That's how I usually get the commission messages. They're always saying like, "I love your work. I've seen your commissions. I would like one."
Mhm.
Though that's the correct way, in my opinion, to ask an artist
Mhm.
for a commission. Like, if you would like artwork, just ask, just do it, go for it. No need to like beat around the bush and be like, "Hi, how are you? You have a second, whatever." Like, just go in.
Yeah.
Because when I get the hi or hello, I'm gonna assume you want to try to have a deep conversation. And
You
I'm
assume that you
sorry, I just simply do not have the time for it. I'm very,
Mhm.
very busy, and I cannot stress enough. Like, I get commissions almost daily, so
Mhm.
I'm pretty much booked. All my social energy is just, it goes right through me. Like, I can't. I can't handle with that much stress because it's already stressful enough having to pay rent.
Mhm.
So, and I keep up with my regulars, so I mean, I'm already booked. My whole schedule is full of just the same thing every single day. I do try to keep short conversations with fans when they do message me and they want to get to know me a little bit. I'll try to find some time to message them back. or
Mm-hmm.
reply to their comments. I will always heart react to comment.
Yes.
Or ha ha if they make me laugh.
If they do the
But I
funny.
always go through almost all my comments every time I take a break from my artwork or resting my hand. I'll always comment if I can, and I'll always message back if I can. If I leave you on red, I'm sorry. I don't mean to, but sometimes I just don't know how to react or respond. And if
Mhm.
I just stop replying, it means that I've gone back to work and I've already forgotten, or you've been buried by other people doing the exact same thing.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because I think some people just have this notion where, oh, I want to be friends, I'm going to message them.
yeah.
You don't know there are like 20 other people doing the exact same thing.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I don't blame you for not knowing. You're not, a telepath.
But I say, fellas, it was lucky that I got in here. Like, I'm surprised. I'm surprised she gave me the time of day to be like, oh, this podcast guy.
Well, I was interested. I was like, oh, this sounds pretty neat. I'm sorry. I declined at first because I was very anxious. Then I thought about it. I'm like, we could both benefit from this.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where like, the main point about it is that like if you want to go ahead and have a if you are somebody who has no reason to go ahead and message an artist other than for the sole reason of like I want to be your friend, and the reason behind that is because I want free art. You are
Oh,
not going to have a friend. You're not wanting to have a friend. You're wanting to have a robot that prints art for you that is in
that
your
is
head.
what some people do, and I've had a person like that. I won't say their name, but they did befriend me for the sole purpose of using me. They used my platform. They used my popularity to try to elevate themselves. I In return, I was a very good friend, regardless of what they did to me, and I would
Mm-hmm.
always give them, some little free doodles. I even made a character of them that I was planning to put in my comic, but after we had a falling out, those ideas were scrapped.
Mm-hmm.
They get to keep all that free art, which is fine. I mean, I did it in good faith. We were friends at the time. I'm not salty about it, but
Mm-hmm.
it really does hurt when people do try to become friends with you for the sole purpose of making you their art slave.
No, no, that's not the point. That's not what I want. That's not
Yeah,
what like a lot
it's a
of
very
people want.
painful experience. I'm not the only
Mm-hmm.
artist that has gone through that.
Yeah.
It's a very user situation. Don't be
Mm-hmm.
a user. You are a jerk if you do that.
Yes, yes, and you know what? I think this is a this ought to be a decent time to go ahead and talk about what was it? I think this will be a decent time for us to go ahead and talk about like who you are, because we've had like bits and pieces of that from here and there. And we've heard a little bit about it. We've heard about your art style. We heard about you from starting from high school, going all the way to through college and where you are now, and also from like when you were a young kid, working on all of your artwork. Um, we've heard a lot about that, but um, for as much as you want to go ahead and share, what was what's life like for you? I've been genuinely curious about that sort of thing. You've done like maybe we can go ahead and get into some more art stuff a little bit later. But
Hmm.
what about you? I'd love to hear more about you.
Me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, um,
You.
I had a pretty rough growing up. I was abused as a child. Growing up with my two siblings. One of them was adopted by a different family, and my sister and I were adopted together.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm an adopted kid. Yes, you can joke about that. It's
No.
okay. You're adopted. I know.
Oh my god.
um, yeah, it was pretty rough. Up to 7 years old, when I was adopted by my new family, it was all right. But as I got older, I started seeing that my current parents were very controlling. And when I wanted to become more independent at 18, I got my boyfriend at 18. I was graduating high school, I was going to college. I wanted a little more freedom. I didn't want my 10 p.m. curfew till I was 25. And they didn't take it very well, so obviously that impacted me negatively. They got a little more tight grip around me. They didn't want to lose control over me. So it affected my art a little bit. I started getting ideas for comics, my current comic near the end. We will be touching on like abuse and control freaks.
Mm-hmm.
It was mostly mental abuse, you know. They never really supported my art, so that hurt me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept going anyway. I didn't need them. I didn't need their approval.
Yeah.
I was told consistently throughout my college years that what I was doing is completely useless to society, but I beg to differ.
Yeah.
I pushed past all of that. I ended up moving out. I live pretty calmly right now. I'm working as a freelancer. I have many, many years in food service
Mm-hmm.
because you know I had to save some money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been working as a server in multiple nursing homes for like 8+ years. I just started working at Chipotle part time because you know rent, rent.
Yeah.
Uh, I love dogs. I'm an animal lover. I love animals. Spiders don't even bother me. I play loads of video games. I take a lot of inspiration from video games, comics, anime. I am such a total weeb. You can call me weeb trash all you want. I embrace it. I embrace it. I am the god of weeb trash. And memes. I love memes. Memes. Um, my fucking profile picture here is a meme.
Isn't it? Isn't
It's
that
a JoJo
Speedwagon? Is that
meme.
Speedwagon? Wait, is all right, all right. I don't
All
know.
that is Speedwagon.
Yeah, but to say I don't even watch JoJo, and from the memes, I know that Speedwagon.
The memes of JoJo are what got me into JoJo, unfortunately, and
That's
it's one of those animes you cannot take seriously, but it's pretty cool.
mm-hmm.
um, I've traveled a bit. I've only stuck to the United States, but I've been to Puerto Rico. I used to live there for 3 years to learn Spanish. I am bilingual.
Mm.
English is my first language.
Okay.
I'm forgetting Spanish a little bit because the only time I really speak is with my sister's fiance or some friends online that are Hispanic. Puerto Rico was one hell of a trip. I was bullied a lot because
Oh.
I didn't speak Spanish when I went there. It was one of those situations where you were dropped in a foreign country and forced to learn the language because my mom thought that was the best way to learn. It
Mm.
was, but it was traumatizing in the process.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few fistfights. I did not get in trouble because it was self-defense. Um, I enjoyed vacations there, but not living there. I was born in Maryland. I am a Southern baby, or a border state baby. I lived in Vermont. I've been to New Hampshire. I visit Maine every summer. Hopefully, I can go this summer if the shelter in place relieves itself. I am not happy with the outbreak going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's really restricted. It's not like I left my house much before, but I did enjoy getting into a workout routine. I am a chubby baby. My guy, I don't know.
No,
I am
you're
I
fine.
can pretend to be outgoing online, but in person I am very, very shy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're lucky you didn't have to crack this egg open.
Well, no,
um, I I don't know. I just have I have too much tragedy. I'm not sure if I want to unpack it all on everybody.
that's
I've had a
fine.
super rough life. Um, but now I'm happy. I'm pretty happy right now. I feel a lot better about myself, my self-image, my work. I've
Mm-hmm.
gotten past all the negative things in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One of the things that did impact me a lot was when I lost my house when I was finishing high school. I had a house fire and I lost my entire house and all of my stuff,
Mm-hmm.
including the first comic I illustrated. It was water damage mostly. So that was a very stressful time. That was when I first started opening my eyes to mental abuse by my parents. And it was a shitty time, but I met my boyfriend in high school after that, and he helped me get through a lot of stuff. He's very supportive. He's taken the time to understand mental illness with anxiety and agoraphobia. He knows how to handle me when I have my panic attacks. Um, I love Boston. I love to say I'm from Boston, even though I'm from Waltham, but Boston and Waltham are synonymous to me. I spent more time in Boston for my college time than I did at my home because, traveling and commuting, and I would just kind of hang around there a lot too in the summer. It's the best city ever. You can fight me on it. Clam chowder all the way.
I want some clam chowder
Delicious. Oh, it's delicious here. Authentic clam chowder. Hell yeah. It's the best.
I'm
Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
I'm gonna go ahead and step here and say a few things real quick, because I've done this with artists in the past, of course, but like I want to go ahead and talk a bit about this. I want to say thank you for the amount that you've shared and the things that you've been open to. I know you say that you're an open book, but still it takes a lot of courage to go ahead and say these kind of things and be open about these kind of things.
It's hard to mention some things. I'm not going to mention others because it's just really hard for me to bring up, and I usually end up jerking tears, so
that's
I'm not going to touch on that. If people want to know about that, they can message me, or if they are personal friends and they don't know about that, I'll tell them about it. But in person or through voice, I can't really handle it, so thank you for not dragging it out.
Of course not. And I want to go ahead and say thank you for sharing as much. Like I said, thank you for sharing as much as you did. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being so open about it. Thank you for sharing a bit of your life with us. And I also want to say I absolutely adore your art. Your OCs are amazing. I love the way that you shape colors. I love the way that you have all the different little details that you have. I love the this almost sort of sheen and gloss that is added onto them. Just makes them even more just makes them pop. Your colors are amazing. I love nearly everything that you have done in terms of work, and it is nearly a dream that I got a chance to interview you, because when I saw that anything like in terms of Facebook artists, and I'm gonna do a peek behind the curtain. When I first went to start interviewing people, I interviewed friends, and then I interviewed people who I've then I'm starting to interview people that I've liked for a while. And I've enjoyed and been a fan of your art for quite a bit, and I'm so thankful that you got that. After I reached out for you, you were initially against it. And you were initially against it, and I fully understand it, because it's a weird thing to go and ask in the first place, but also because of things that you were concerned about, but you wanted to go ahead and do so, and I appreciate that. There's just a lot that I have to go ahead and say. I love your art. I love everything that you've put out so far, and I hope to see you grow, and I hope this will be a good opportunity for people to go ahead and hear from you and get to hear this sort of thing. I know a lot of artists see a lot of praise on their timeline, but it's easy for that to go ahead and go away. But I want you to go ahead and hear right now that your art that you have made, that you have grown with, that has changed and has grown with you, has been amazing. It will continue to be amazing, and I can see you growing even further than you have right now. I don't think this is going to be the end of it. I think that you can take whatever you're doing right now and bring it further and further beyond to where you eventually want it to go, wherever that may be, whether it be you want to continue to do illustrations or things more into a bigger studio, or doing individual artworks and doing commission work for as long as you want, or if you want to go ahead and change it. I know that your fans will support you no matter what that is, and if they aren't, I'll fight them anyway.
Oh, don't worry, I can do all the fighting myself.
Proud of you.
I can be feisty when I want to be.
There you go. All right.
Oh wow, thank you so much. Wow, that almost had me teary. I could feel my face warming up.
I nearly get there every time.
I mean, my eyes are a little watery, but my face is on fire.
No,
I'm very flattered. Thank you.
I didn't know some of these things going in, and it's a lot. Yeah, and I'm I'm thankful that you trust not only the audience but like myself with that information. I
Of
really do
course.
appreciate it, and I really do mean what I say involved with that. And I'm sure a lot of other people do. I'm sure that they absolutely adore your art, and I'm sure that if anybody hasn't heard of you, they will adore your art as well,
Well,
because
that's my
it's
hope.
yeah. I think it's gonna be the case.
Yeah.
Um, I think we've been going on despite the break for a decent while. Um, I think we're gonna go ahead and start to wrap things up. But is there anything you want to go ahead and say to um anyone out there, either it be like, small artists or your fans or your friends, like what is it that you want to go ahead and say to them?
For my friends, I'd like to say thank you, the biggest thanks, because they've been sticking with me for a long time. They're the ones that helped lift me. They were the ones that were there when I first started. For my fans, obviously another enormous thank you for supporting my work, for loving what I do, and loving me for who I am. And it's just an amazing feeling to have you guys out there seeing my work, seeing my progress, and commissioning me for my uh, talents. It's very humbling to also be considered a good artist, I guess. I try to be humble about my work. I always thank everybody else before I thank my own hand. I want to shout out to my boyfriend for helping me too. Arthur is great. Uh, Huge thanks to my sister too, who has always stuck up for me. And thank you for having me here. It was a blast, and it was a lovely experience despite racking my nerves. It was very anxiety inducing, but I was able to get through it with the help of my Tums and a slice of pizza.
There you go. That's
And yeah, it was great. I had a lot of fun just kind of unpacking and having everybody learn more about my personal life and how I am as a person aside from the persona I put on online.
mhm. I think a lot of people are going to appreciate that too. I'll
Yeah.
go ahead and shout out everything that you have in the outro and in the intro, including your Facebook page, your Instagram, your Twitter, your Patreon, everywhere. Everything will go ahead and be linked down in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. And if you are listening to this, while on your walk or on your drive or whatever, watch out. There's a car. But
A
but
moped!
oh no, a moped. Oh,
No, don't hit them. They're
oh,
delivering pizza.
oh no, oh no. Those are
Those are
going to Lazy
essential
House.
workers.
They're going to Lazy's house. Oh no, the pizza. It's everywhere. Okay. Well,
These
either way.
fangs, they're gonna come for you. Pizza.
Either way, Lazy, thank you so much for this
Thank
wonderful
you.
interview, and I really do appreciate it.
Oh, it was fantastic. Or should I say fang-tastic?
Oh my god.
You knew that was coming.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Commissions Open. If you would, please go ahead and subscribe or follow this podcast wherever you get it. I would most certainly appreciate it. I also want to go ahead and give a huge shout out to the multiple artists and guests who have been on this podcast. At Meloscav, at MELOSCAV, create the icon for this podcast. At Doida Flower, at DOIDUHFLOWER is the artist behind the visuals on YouTube and other social media sites. And at Andromeda_Snow, ANDROMEDA_SNOW is the artist who has made all of the promotional art for the podcast as well. I also want to give a huge thank you to Lazy Chaoz, who has made this episode what it is. You can follow them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon, all in the description down below. Thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day.